Hi everyone, this is a video response. It's a contest entry for Ed of the King's Court, who just reached a milestone. He's got 2,500 subscribers, and congratulations, Ed. I remember when you first wanted to make videos, and I was really happy that you did, and now this is a pretty big accomplishment, so good for you. He has a contest where he's asking us to name our worst Elvis songs, and you can go over to his channel and find out all the details, because there are more details to enter than that. He gave a bunch of options as to what approach we could take when we do this, and the one I decided to take was I'm going to name three worst songs from the 50s, three worst songs from the 60s, and three worst songs from the 70s. You don't have to do every decade, by the way. You could just do three, but you get your name in the hat entered more times for the different amount of you do during the decade. You can check out his video and you'll find out. So I'm going to go the long haul here. Now, before I start, I want to say I love Elvis. I don't know though every single song he ever recorded yet. I kind of get lost once we get into the 60s and 70s. This basic list that I'm doing here is just from the songs that I know, the worst songs from based on what I know so far, okay, from what I'm familiar with. But there are probably a lot of movie tracks that maybe I've forgotten, bonus tracks here or there that they add to certain soundtrack albums of the movies, things like that. So I'm just going by what I already know. I think is pretty cringeworthy. And the same thing goes for the 70s. I mean, 60s and 70s, I'm not as well versed on. So these are just what I really know. And I want to make this video as quick as possible from this point on, because I've already blabbered enough. All right, to start with the 50s, three worst songs of the 50s. First, I'm going to go with Harbor Lights from the Sun Sessions, 1954. I think it's Sun. Yeah. Just very boring and dull. I just can't stand listening to it. So that's my first pick from the 50s. Next pick from the 50s, I'm going to go with a song from Elvis's debut album, Elvis Presley, and that's Blue Moon. Just cannot stand when he goes through that kind of thing that he does. It's a real annoying, nails on a chalkboard kind of worthy track for me. So I do not like Blue Moon. This one was a toss-up between two tracks. I went with First in Line, which I remember when I played this at the record store that I go to some time ago, a few years ago. Corey said something like, oh, you know, the echo in this song is so bad. It sounds like a man singing while taking a piss in a restroom on a beach bathroom, like on a boardwalk. And that's, can't stand First in Line. Don't like Old Shep either. So I snuck one more in there. Sometimes you got to sneak an Old Shep in there too. Dull as dishwater, that song. God, that's awful. All right. Now we go on to the 60s. The 60s are a real smorgasbord. See what I did there for you Elvis aficionados? The Elvis 60s are a real smorgasbord of bad songs, mostly because of the movie soundtracks. But I always tend to defend a lot of Elvis songs from the 60s that are in the movies, because the way I look at it, I consider that when you watch in the context of the movies, like there's a song Dominic the Bull or something like that that's from Stay Away Joe, I think. It's a terrible song, but when you listen to it and watch it in the context of the movie, it's a comedy bit, and Elvis is like chasing after two pretty girls, and it kind of works. It's okay, you know, almost. So it's not a bad thing, you know. So I always consider that when I'm talking about Elvis Presley songs from movies, you know. I always say the example I give is you may take a song like from The Wizard of Oz, If I Only Had a Brain, and you picture the Scarecrow singing that. It works great in the movie as a record, as a song by itself. If there was no context, it would be awful. So I excuse a lot of these Elvis movie songs. So without further ado, I'm going to start with Harum Scarum soundtrack. And there's a few cringeworthy songs on here. There's at least 4 or 5 I could... this is one of the worst soundtracks for my money. I think this is one of his all-time worst soundtracks. But I'm going to go with, I guess, maybe Animal Instinct. Animal Instinct is a special bonus song on this album. Or I could have went with Hey Little Girl. You know, Hey Little Girl is a ridiculous, awkward sounding rocker. Elvis sounds embarrassed as hell to be singing it. So, Animal Instinct to Hey Little Girl for that album. I'm cheating here. I'm like working more in. I'm sorry about that. I'm not trying to look for more entries. I'm not looking to get more entries into the hat. I had to pick a song from Clambake, and no, it's not the title track. I actually like the song Clambake very much. It's a track on here called Confidence, a kiddie song. Again, within the movie, it works because it's in the context of the children, but Confidence is really another case where Elvis sounds like he's going to have a heart attack singing this song and trying to give it some kind of dignity. You can tell that he feels really, really ashamed. At least that's how I hear it when I hear him singing Confidence. All right, let's see. What else can I do for the 1960s? Did you Beatles fans think I was going to forget from this album the abominable crap version of Hey Jude that Elvis did or attempted to do? It is awful. I cannot believe it. I mean, he changes the lyrics. I don't think he knows the lyrics. You know, when somebody sings, maybe you're at work or something, and you have a friend, and he says, "Oh, I love that song," and he starts singing like, I don't know, maybe they're singing a song like, I don't know, say, give me a song here, like, Tutti Frutti. They'll say, "Wop Papaloo, Tutti Frutti, oh Balooty, oh, you know, she's my girl and I'm a duty." It's like what Elvis is doing here with Hey Jude is, "Hey Jude, don't be a fool, take a sad song and, you know, remember your heart." He doesn't know what the hell he's singing, and he just mangles the song. I actually know a couple of Elvis fans who think that the Elvis version of Hey Jude is better than the Beatles. I mean, loyalty is one thing, folks, but the Beatles were always respectful of Elvis, and they didn't really want to record any of his songs because they really revered him. In this particular case, you would think Elvis can do no wrong, but I'm very proud as a Beatles fan to say, when it comes to the Beatles, let the Beatles do the Beatles, and you stick to your stuff. Although I gotta say, it is true that Elvis does do a nice version of something, I think, so we'll give him that. But Hey Jude, oh, God. Well, folks, there's another one I wanted to throw in, sneak in there, a song that I can't stand. It's from the soundtrack of GI Blues, and was it on a single, and it's called Wooden Heart. Ooh, I hate Wooden Heart. It also features on this silly album. Elvis sings for kids and grown-ups too. Wooden Heart. It's such a kiddie song. Again, in the movie GI Blues, Wooden Heart works very well, I guess. It's like a puppet show thing, so it works good if you're watching the movie. If you're not listening to it, this really suits it good. Coloring book and crayons. Don't CD, que pasa, bien, I cannot stand the song. It's so annoying, Wooden Heart. And it's even worse when Elvis puts in those foreign touches and starts singing in different language. That part makes me just want to plug my ears. So I cheated there a little bit with a few more Wooden Heart. Oh, I have another one. I have another 60s one. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I couldn't keep it to just three. From this movie, I went along with He's Your Uncle, Not Your Dad. Another kind of silly song that Elvis doesn't sing. I got notes here. Elvis doesn't sing it very good. Bad lyrics. The lyrics are really abysmal, and Elvis just sounds totally, totally embarrassed. Okay, that's the 60s. Now, when it comes to the 70s, there's songs that I like in the 70s by Elvis, and I'm not overly familiar with the 70s tracks. So there may be tracks in the 70s that I don't even know of that really pretty terrible. But the ones I like. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff too. But here's some that I know I don't like. I remember suffering through a version of Little Darling, or Little Darlin', I should say, from this thing that was made famous by the Diamonds. And Julio's out there will tell me there was a version before the Diamonds. Don't ruin my memories, Julio. Don't I don't want to know that sometimes. But anyway, does Elvis always have to be a clown? I mean, I don't mind. God knows I love John Lennon, Ringo Starr, and the Beatles have a sense of humor too. But this guy, so many times, just completely goofed around too much through the songs, laughing, giggling, changing lyrics, and just being a kind of complete maniac. That he just ruins Little Darling. It's an embarrassing thing. So that's my number one from the '70s. The last two from the '70s, I have a problem because I don't have the album. It's an album I think commonly referred to as the Fool album, and based on some of the stuff that I heard from that, I'm not too sore about not having the album. To tell you the truth, one of them is a song that I picked called "I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen." Kind of a dull song from the Fool album. Don't like that. That's my second choice. And the last one I'm going to go with is from the '70s, is a song that sucks, and it's called Padre. Oof. What a chorus on that, or a refrain. Oh, terrible. Padre from the '70s. There's some other runners up I have here. Girl of Mine, Three Corn Patches, and I don't know. From my experiment here and listening to a lot of stuff to get ready for this, I found there were a lot of choices I could have made. There's a lot of poor songs in there amidst all the great stuff. So for now, until I become more familiar with some of the more of the '70s and even some of the more odd '60s, maybe here and there, that's it. So again, hope you had fun with this, Ed, and congratulations once more.